So, Vinny, what I want you to think about is the following. I want you to think solution, okay? Because, like, you know how when we're talking with Tico or Dylan, and then they say stuff politically, and what I'll do?
You tell them, explain yourself.
I said, don't do that. I said, give me reasons. Well, that person's the worst ever. Don't say that. Give me what you would do differently, right?
Yeah.
So right now, you know, what's very tempting to do is to take sides. It's very tempting to take sides. Because no matter what side you take, that group's going to be like, you're the only person, you're a truth seeker, keep doing it, blah, 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 blah. And they're going to rile you up, right? And those, you know, Jews or those Muslims or those, you know, both sides are going to feed that machine, right? It's not easy to stay as stable as possible while everybody else kind of like doing a rally cry like you're the spokesperson for that community. It's tempting to not fall for it. Power versus force. Can you pull up the power versus force chart, Rob? We all fall for this trap. Go to power versus force chart and go to images and zoom in. And this is my goal with myself and my kids and America. Zoom in as much as you can and go to the one right in the middle, level. You see where it says level? Levels of consciousness. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Look where anger is at. Zoom out a little bit, Rob. Zoom out a little. Okay. There you go. Anger is below level of courage. Anger is even below pride, fear, desire, all of that. Okay, no problem. And then the lowest level is shame. Shame, you don't get anything done. Guilt, apathy, grief. We know people that are on those levels. Then you're afraid, you have desire, alcohol, drinking. You've grown past that. Anger, pride, great. Now it's courage. Courage to be right, the courage to be wrong. Earlier, I showed a picture of babysitting with, with the two kids and then while I wrote out the numbers, I'm like, no, I'm wrong. That's not even possible. And one guy sent it to me. I'm like, let me do my own fact check. You have the courage to be wrong at times, right? Then it's neutrality, and you're able to kind of balance out both sides to hear the arguments. Then you're willing to hear opposing arguments, which America, we don't have that right now, okay? We are not there right now. We don't have any of those three right now as America. Then it's acceptance. Then it's reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. I like to stay at reason, love, as much as I can to go up to those two levels to be able to reason and to love people. I love Muslims. I love Christians. I love Jews. I found myself. I'm at the soccer thing the other day, and this one lady, I'm talking to her daughter, and she's the same age as Tico. And I said, so what's your favorite subject in school? She says, I love math. I said, awesome. And I said, do you like people? Her mom's like, she gets along with everybody. I said, you give me somebody that loves math and loves people, you can have a great career in financial services. Go become a stockbroker, whatever it is, do something with that business, right? So people, I like people. I like talking to people, whether they agree with me or not. In this situation here right now with what we got going on, the money that we spend, whatever the number was, $24 billion, of which I think like 12, 13, 14 billion went to Israel, the other one to Gaza, their food supply, that which many of the times the money never makes it to the people. And who holds it up? Is it Israel holding it up? Is it Hamas holding it up? Is it who's holding up the money and the resources from getting to them? Who knows? We're learning about all that stuff. Mishap, mistake. That's plain wordsmith. And Netanyahu, as a former journalist, having come up from that place, he knows the power of words. So, you know, it's kind of lazy to say mishap, mistake. Hey, it's a mishap, it's a mistake. Just say, hey, here's what happened. Great. Again, translation can be lost. Fair, no problem. I'm not going to sit there and try to become a translator. I get it. Money sent to them, money sent to Ukraine. Isolationist position of we shouldn't send any money to anybody. Okay, that's a great position to take, where you can say my position is X, Y, Z, here's why. No problem. But at the same time, you know, do we want to get an ally in the Middle East? Who is the only ally that we have in the Middle East? If we don't have a single ally in the Middle East, then what happens? They have some resources. We have to have an ally. Let's try to be good with MBS. The guy's pretty powerful. He looks like he's pretty reasonable. We can do some stuff with him. He even killed a journalist, right? We know what exactly. It said. So, okay. So, yeah. So then we go Israel. You know, do they want to have allies with us? Iran doesn't want to be allies with us. There's so many different ways. These people don't like you. They just don't like what we stand for. Literally, Vinny. They don't like what we stand for. So now you may say, well, you don't know what they've done to them. I've lived there, and I understand the hatred that they have towards America. And then, you know, with the, Jewish community and, But look at the amount of type of stuff that they control. Yeah, I'm also understanding that they did that. But to me, it's they own music industry. Look what they're doing. Okay, you know what my solution is? Then why don't you freaking compete? I'm talking to Vivek over the weekend. You know what Vivek did to compete? He bought 7.7% of BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
Did you see the letter he wrote to the board today?
No.
This morning? You should see the letter Vivek wrote to the board today. Flat out calling them out, okay, to the board today. Anyways, what's the point? The point is this it? Here, let me check up. My letter is below. Yeah, this is the letter he wrote to the board today. Look at the way he starts it. BuzzFeed has lost its way. The company was a pioneer of the social internet when referral traffic from Facebook seemed like it would never end. Legacy media companies and publishers believed that BuzzFeed had the secret sauce so much that they invested at sky-high valuations, copied the strategies, or both. Not the social internet media model is dying or dead, and BuzzFeed is caught without a viable strategy. I'm not alone in believing that BuzzFeed went public in December of 2021 at a valuation of $1.5 billion when I started acquiring shares in your company as of January 30th this year. Your share prices has plummeted 94%, Vinny. 94%. So what is he doing? He bought, I am now your second largest Class A shareholder with an 8.37% stake in your company, and I continue to increase my position. Anyways, you go all the way to the bottom. Go all the way to the bottom. The worst is yet to come. He's talking about everything that's going on. Go all the way to the bottom. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Wow, he's a writer.
No, he's this is a legit breaking down.
Jeez.
You know what he says at the end? Okay, there you go, right there. I urge your board to add the 3 proposed new directors by July 15th. I look forward to arranging meetings in upcoming weeks. He's going to suggest certain people to be on the board with BuzzFeed, et cetera, et cetera. What's the point? He's doing something about it. So what I like us to do with PBD Podcasts or Valuetainment, anytime I do like the EV stuff that I did this video with China, I'm looking at, that's problematic for me. Why? You know when Tom is like, he's like, well, no, here's the thing with China, but they got the freaking resources. How the hell are we going to compete with this long term? That's a sincere, we're going to put 100%, what do you call it? Tariff. China's going to say, screw you. 80% of your antibiotics I produce. Mm-hmm. You want me to put freaking tariffs on your antibiotics? Let's play this game and see how many of your people need the antibiotics. So that's the part where it's like, how do you play this? You got to dance, right? Because you need that relationship, but at the same time, you can't allow them to bully you. And then they come and they sell BYD in U.S., and all of a sudden, our car companies drop stocks in 50%. We're hurting our workers in America. I'm not okay. So how do you battle this out? So this is not an easy job to do while I'm listening to both sides. I am with you on the rage and the anger, and this is why people love you as the angry patriot. By the way, millions of people understand your anger. Millions. This is why I love this. When we have this home team where we're having this conversation, I'm trying to add a handful of other people to the group so we can have a rotation with different people. Unusual Suspects now doing its stuff, and it's growing. I know you guys did an Unusual Suspect last week together with, with
Amazing.
Brian Callen. Great conversation. Tico, my oldest son, was in the back listening to you guys the entire time. So these are good conversations to be had. But the part that we can't fall for the trap is to allow it to distract us with being America first. Mm. To me, this is number one.
Yep.
America is number one priority for me. If America stays strong, the rest of the world can act like clowns destroying other people. If a stronger president was in the White House, there is no October 7th. If a stronger person was in the White House, there is no Ukraine-Russia bullying. If there's anything that's happened, Vinny, the last 3 years, Democrats, independents, people who have never voted for a Republican president in the last 3 years are considering doing that because that is the closest thing to someone that can give them the freedom, free market, free assembly, freedom of speech, all of those freedoms that America was founded on. It's getting common sense to become popular again. That's the part. What we can't allow it to do is to get us to be divided and forgetting. What is the number one priority? America. One time I called him Israeli. I don't know if you remember that on the podcast. I called him Israeli 3 months ago. You know how quickly he corrected me? What did he say? He said, no, I'm not
American.
Israeli. I'm American.
Of course.
And I was trying to say Jewish, but my English being my fifth language. He says, no. I'm American. I'm American. And he kept saying it,
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
So his pride is where?
Here.
America first.
For sure.
What's yours?
America.
What's Tom's?
America.
What's mine?
America.
What's Rob's?
America.
We love America because we live here. By the way, if you live in Israel, what should you be?
Is Israel first?
If you live in Gaza, what should you be?
Palestine first?
Of course. If you're in Egypt, if you're in Germany, you better have that freaking pride.
sure.
I tell this guy, I'm Christian. I tell him, why aren't you going to, synagogue more? Why don't you go? Why are you not going and representing your faith? Go to it, right? I, of course, understand your pride of where your bloodline comes from. But the one thing we can't do is to allow that division to come here with us. Because that's the part where somebody watches this podcast and they live like, so let me tell you. And now we're getting more and more and more and more like this. Where what we've been able to do with PBD Podcast is to get more people to go like this.
Yeah,
I get a lot of heat from people on the left. They got these funny emojis, not emojis, what do you call it? Funny memes they make with the stuff on my hat. I mean, some of the stuff is funny as hell.
It's hilarious.
And it's both sides, right, that they make. But at the same time, we have to do our best individually and collectively to be in the community of having the courage to debate, which we have. Being willing to hear a different side's argument, which we're willing to do, accepting the fact that at times we could be wrong, which we are.
I'm wrong a lot.
Allowing to be able to stay neutral so we can kind of see and then reason and understanding that you got to lead with love. If we can love people, if we can love even people that we disagree with, it brings a temperature and we have a shot at making this thing the greatest again without all the other mess that's taking place. That is my only suggestion. Anytime that even myself, when I go there, I try to bring my own temperature down because whether it's personal life, marriage, relationship, friendship, business, enemies, any of that stuff, that allows me to make better decisions. So while we're proposing whatever we're proposing, this is my request to everybody moving forward.
And I love it. And obviously, we know the love here doesn't go anywhere.
Are you kidding me? Of course I know
of course.
that. Yeah.
But, and the point, we were saying the point, is I just wanted to reiterate that you can criticize people and governments and not be the label of anti-Semitic. To say that I hate Jewish people is the most ignorant, stupid thing to say. Adam is my number one. Adam's my freaking brother. So I want people to understand. But
that's not the point. The point I want to make is the following. Here's the point I want to make. I want to make the point of the following, okay? So let's just say we're doing a boardroom meeting and we're running XYZ company. And Rob is our CMO.
God help us, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm seriously, Rob is our CMO. And Rob walks into the board. You're the chairman of the board.
I'm above him.
You're number one.
The chairman of the CMO.
Hear me out.
Yes.
You're the chairman of the board.
Yes.
Adam's the president. Tom's the COO. I'm your chief picket information officer. Okay. I'm your CFO. I'm your numbers guy. No problem.
You're the top guy in this scenario.
Gotcha.
Rob comes in.
God help this.
Rob says, let me tell you what's going on. XYZ company, we're doing this, but ABC company is spending this much money on their budget, and they're spending money doing ads on Facebook and Google, and they're spending $1.2 million per month, and they're doing $2.2 million on Facebook, and they're doing $600,000 on TikTok. In the last 6 months, their budget for TikTok has gone from $100,000 a month to $600,000 a month, and da-da-da-da-da. And that's a lot of problems that's going on with XYZ, our company, and we have to find a way to get better. What are you going to say to him?
Take a chill pill.
And then what are you going to tell him? What are you going to want, as a chairman of the board, what do you want to hear from him?
I want a solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything was a rant. Now it's going to be like, but no, I don't have any. I'm just kind of giving you this. If we, all of us, him, me, you, Tom, all of us, there's plenty of podcasts that people listen just to listen. But if we come in and we say, I don't like that this is going on, da-da-da-da-da. Now watch what happens. Look at your level of preparation from the first podcast to today. It's crazy.
Night and day.
Star, right? What's happening? But now imagine if all of us are now going through it and that next additional. So you write out the notes and everything you write out at the bottom, guess what you finish it up with? Vinny, what's your solution? Adam, what's your solution? Rob, what's your solution? Tom, what's your solution? PBD, what's your solution? If I don't give a solution, I'm being lazy. So if I do a how-to podcast, I'll say, okay, so what's the solution with this? What's your point with EVs? What's your point with diamonds are such and such and they're, what's your point? Everything has to end with that. The more we end with that, we're getting everybody to elevate themselves from just being angry, patriots, to, okay, use that emotion and the anger that you have and provide me some solutions. Look what Vivek is doing. Vivek is angry. Trust me, he's angry.
I can tell.
Vivek is an angry patriot.
Yeah.
But Vivek is proposing ideas, okay? You may later on be running for something. Who knows what's going to happen? You never know what's going to be taking place. I think Unusual is going to be one of the biggest podcasts. We drive it the way it's called, conversation being entertaining. But at the same time, I think if we go and shift that mindset into thinking solution-oriented every single time, we'll come up with both. And that's you as well, by the way. You know, that's you as well. That's all of us to come back and say, like for me, when I'm listening to this, what am I going through this? Okay, well, you know, look what they did. They blew up this place, 45, 50. Okay, don't use lazy words. People died. Mishap, mistake. I don't know what he said exactly with the verbiage. But, okay, so that part is accountability with them. Number two, what do we do here? Temperatures. Do we increase it? Do we lower it? Do we make a statement? Look, we're not giving any more money. Those are some of the ways that we're not giving any money until you guys are able to figure X, Y, Z out. Okay, what if U.S. does the following? Seriously. What if the next round you want money? What if the U.S. president comes in and says this? We're not giving any more. So Congress comes out and says, $600 billion bill. We want to, and then we're going to send another $30 billion to Ukraine and another $20 billion to Israel and and Gaza or Palestine, right? And what if the president says, yeah, I'm not doing it. Why? The only way I'll do it is if Netanyahu and his crew and Palestine and their crew and Hamas are willing to all get into a room together, and I'm going to fly down, we're going to have that meeting. It's the only way we're doing it. Closed-door conversation we need to have together. What if a president did that?
Pretty awesome.
You want the money, we'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to send you any money if you're not showing me any way of making peace, because whatever I'm sending you right now, you're going to need it 30 days later, 60 days later. I'm not doing it. I'm going to have a meeting with you guys. What do you think about that, Tom? With the idea of always thinking about a way to having a solution instead of, keep sending money to everybody.
I completely agree with that. I finished my points with, we have the technology, we have the intelligence, we can bring it to the table, and we can bring the suffering on the citizens to a close. We hope. There has to be a solution at the end of it. Otherwise, you're just in boogeyman politics. One side yelling at the other side, one side yelling at the other side yelling back. And you're just in this tornado of boogeyman politics. You have to come forward with a solution. You look at the end of Vivek's note that we were just looking at to BuzzFeed. And it says, BuzzFeed has an opportunity to do things differently. The shareholder asks if you're willing to seize it, and he's presented some recommendations. That's where it has to go. Carter is not my favorite president, but the Camp David peace accords came when the United States stood up and said, Israel and Egypt, there has to be a solution here. There has to be some sort of a negotiated agreement that turns down the heat of the situation and gets us to a point. And it successfully did. Unfortunately, Anwar Sadat, paid with his life as factions within his own government, hated the fact that he didn't. But people that come forward with solutions, those are the brave. Those are the ones that are not just making noise, they are taking and they are offering ways out.
Mm-hmm. PBD, number one, thank you for being a synergist and very reasonable and being a unifier here, because at the end of the day, that is what is needed to be decided next, is what is the solution here. And that's why I asked Vinny, like, what's your solution? What do you want to do here? What do you want to do here? When you have all these people literally trying to attack you and you're trying to defend yourself, this is the sadness of war. It's disgusting. It's horrible. People die. Innocent people die. If Israel literally wanted to commit genocide, they could literally kill 1 million people in a day with a nuclear attack, but they don't, because I genuinely believe they're not trying to commit genocide, despite what the propaganda tells you. But it's all about being reasonable versus being an extremist. So I was at Fountain Blue this weekend. Guy came, yo, what up, Adam? His name was Z. What up, bro? Dude, PBD podcast, you're the man, bro. Can I buy you a drink? I'm not drinking right there. I'm like, he's like, I'll get you a water. He gave me and all my friends water. Oh, you're the man, bro. He goes, hey, by the way, love what you do. By the way, Palestine will be free. I was like, all right, cool, bro.
All right.
Reasonable guy.
Yeah.
Right? People don't know this. I was actually dating a Syrian girl like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Reasonable girl. The problem is, Pat, you told me in 2020, Adam has the ability to reason. There's no reasoning with extremists. Whether it's Hamas, whether it's Islamic Jihad, whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it's ISIS, these people are gone, bro. They are far gone. They are true believers. Like, no Israeli wakes up and says, all right, I'm going to have a little matzah for breakfast, have a falafel, and go kill some air. That's not what that's what they want to do. these jihadists wake up every day, have a little hummus, have a little cereal, and go, death to Jews, death to America. Let's get some business done. Now, when you talk about a solution, here's my question. Bibi Netanyahu has put forth a solution. It's called the Gaza 2035 plan. 3-part process. He wants to demilitarize Gaza. Cool. Maybe no weapons in the hands of terrorists. That's probably a good start. Number 2, de-indoctrinate the people so they don't just basically go to jihad summer camp. And number 3, let's focus more on GDP, gross domestic product, than GDT, gross domestic terrorism, because everybody knows Hamas has taken billions of world aid, and instead of making Gaza, Singapore, or Dubai, they turned it into a terror city. And that's what's basically happening here. So Tom talked about the Oslo Accords. Israel made peace with Egypt and Jordan.
Camp David.
So what happened under Trump administration? And Pat's absolutely right. Would any of this be happening if Trump was the president? A lot of people say no, right? So what happened during the Abraham Accords? Israel normalized and had peace relations with the following countries: Sudan, Bahrain, Morocco, and UAE. And a lot of people believe that October 7th happened because they were dangerously close to having a normal relationship with Saudi Arabia. Can you believe Saudi Arabia, the literal Mecca of Islam? So that's a lot of reason that, so what's going to happen inevitably is the world is going to realize, dude, Israel doesn't want beef with anybody. Just like any country wants peace and prosperity. But when you have Islamic jihad groups attacking you from all sides, what the hell are you supposed to do? And Pat knows this. The only language they speak in the Middle East is strength. If you show weakness, you're done. So they're showing strength. They are maybe being a little too extreme. I get it. But they're fighting for their lives here. People talk about this story right here. Nobody talks about the rockets that were fired into their number 1 city, Tel Aviv. So, by the way, this is Bibi Netanyahu's plan. Tear it down, think all you want. But I'll flip it on you. What's the Hamas plan? There's no plan. There's zero coming to terms with what they want. You know what their plan is? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What does that mean? Death to you all. We want it all. In Hamas's charter, it says it right there. We are built on the death and destruction of Israel. And you know what? I believe them. So what do you do if you're Israel? That's the question. I would love for a time and place where Gaza is the next Dubai and you can go. The beaches there are ridiculous. You think Tel Aviv has nice beaches? Look at the images of the beaches on Gaza. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, they're governed by a terrorist organization and they do not want peace and prosperity. They want death and destruction.
And so, well, one of my solutions, I think I did say during it, was the tactical change militarily to try to go get these. Because, by the way, Gaza, what does Gaza look like right now? The main spot is pretty flattened right now. I mean, they're expanding again to Rafah and to go in all these places. Mm-hmm. I think having tactical teams, IDF, special forces, whoever, to go root these people out so there aren't explosions, jeeps. That's basically what Gaza looks like. I'm pretty sure. Is the audience seeing that, Rob? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure you could try to find out who's the good guys in this and try to find some Hamas terrorists. That's one of my solutions. Number 2.
By the way, every city at war, every country at war looks like.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's.
But
all
everyone
of Gaza.
wants to talk about Gaza.
No, I'm just.
But
saying,
they don't want to talk about every other country at war.
No, I'm saying,
again, no Jews, no news.
No.
It's only Gaza.
No.
That's at war.
Adam,
that's the only country in the world that's dealing with it.
I'm just trying to give without getting emotional, just trying to give you solutions. With something that looks like that, you could tactically set up teams to go in and find these terrorists, which, mind you, they're multiplying by the day when innocent people are dying. And the innocent number outweighs the Hamas by tenfold.
It's actually not, Vinny.
Okay.
That's why you're it's 2-1.
Adam, just because the UN hold on. Because the UN gave you numbers, I don't believe the UN.
So you just made up a number and you're going with that?
No. It's
2-1, which is historically low in any war. I'm not just going to let you say 10-1. It's not.
How many?
It's 2-1.
How many?
Which is horrible.
How many
innocent civilians have died in war? It's disgusting.
So you're telling me
2 innocent civilians for every terrorist? Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes.
Okay.
Not your 10-1 made up number.
Guess what? I have never heard that. I haven't heard that in the 7 months. That's number 1.
You're learning.
By the way, let's do this. Can you do me a favor, Rob? Mm-hmm. Go to both of their Manects Go to both of their Manects, directly Manect them. Whatever facts they got right or wrong, send them a message.
Yeah.
Okay, and communicate it with them. This is how you do it, right there. Adam's to the bottom left, Vinny's to the bottom right. Message them directly. It's the last week to compete for the Manect contest. If you go up to the Manect contest here, if you haven't yet downloaded the app, Rob, if you want to go to some of the Manect QR codes, download the app, start asking questions and participating with different folks that what we have going on right now. There's a couple new guys that came on that are starting to get a lot of Manects.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.